It is Sunday, the 16th of February, 2025. My name is Pigeon Rose, and this is my song of the day. We're at the end of our Valentine's week here, and what better way to wrap it up than with an Elbow song, because it is me. Specifically, we're doing the song Kindling, Fickle Flame by Elbow, featuring John Grant. I mentioned this song when I talked about Where Dreams Go to Die by John Grant a few weeks ago. So, on the album Little Fictions by Elbow from 2017, the final track in the album is called Kindling, and then they released an alternate version with John Grant providing additional vocals called Kindling, Fickle Flame. That's the version I prefer. The original is still good, and the original is the version they generally perform because John Grant isn't with them all the time. But I definitely prefer this version. And they did a co-headline tour at one point where John Grant did a set and then Elbow did a set, and they came out and did a few songs together, including this, which I'm very glad I was able to see this version live. It's great. But yeah, there's a music video as well. It's just them recording the song, so you can watch that if you want to. But let's go listen to it and then come back in a few minutes and talk about it. And that was Kindling, Fickle Flame by Elbow. Now, I want to start off by addressing the title, because the original just has the title Kindling, and that word does not appear in the song. This version has the subtitle Fickle Flame, and that line does appear in the song because it's in the additional lyrics that were added for the John Grant version. Where does the name Kindling come from? Well, you may notice that there's some odd percussion in this song, and that's because this was the first album they recorded after their longtime drummer Richard Jupp left the band. And so they kind of decided, he had been such an integral part of the band before, they didn't want to just immediately replace him, but they wanted to record, so they decided to experiment more with different kind of percussion things, and they got Alex Reeves in as a session musician, and he has since become the official new drummer of Elbow and has been for a while now. I think he played drums on Guy Garvey's solo album, and then he, helped them with the drums on this, and he toured with them and eventually became a full-fledged member. But ironically, their first album without their old drummer has some really interesting drumming in it because they're experimenting with what they didn't do before. And this song is literally just built around the loop of a sound of dropping a bag of kindling onto the floor. And I really like that. I just think it's a great basis for a song. It works really well because it's a strange, unique sound, but it works as a basis for a backbeat, So that's why it's called Kindling, just so as you know. The song itself could be interpreted a few ways. It starts off sounding like a breakup song, but I think a more accurate interpretation is that it's about a long distance relationship, or at least a relationship where one person is away a lot, on trips for work or whatever. So let's start going through the lyrics. It starts off with John Grant singing, "Had a circular saw blade where I should have had a heart." And Guy Garvey says, "You keep your boat afloat for so long." John Grant says, "I was trusted, I adored her, and I tore it all apart." Guy Garvey says, "I saw you try and stop the sunset on your own." And they both go together. "Twin moons on a mill pond from a tumble-down barn. I'll forever want your ancient silver gravity. I can still taste the heat of the sun on her skin in my arms." So, "Had a circular saw blade where I should have had a heart" just sounds like, he's maybe been burnt in love. He's prickly. He doesn't want someone to touch his heart, right? "You kept your boat afloat for so long," as a little interjection here saying you got by. "I was trusted, I adored her, and I tore it all apart." That's why it sounds like a breakup song. But it also sounds like he's saying he tore the saw blade all apart or something like that, I adored her, and so I was able to start afresh. "I saw you try and stop the sunset on your own. Twin moons on a mill pond from a tumble-down barn." That's just a lovely image, "I'll forever want your ancient silver gravity," presumably about the moon's setting sort of thing. "I can still taste the heat of the sun on her skin in my arms." That is a very intimate image and a really interesting one. And then second verse, "I could fold to the cold of these January streets, keep your hand around the fickle flame of morning after, but your smile in the half-light was pure pillow print cheek, an angel tangled in the very cloths of heaven. Oh, we'll be far away for a while, but my heart's staying put, warming and guarding and guiding the one that I love. Warming, guarding, and guiding the one that I love." So, "I could fold to the cold of these January streets" is about just the streets are cold. It's bitter and it's getting to me. And then, "Keep your hand around the fickle flame of morning after." Well, a fickle flame, like a flame that could go out at any second. He's saying try to keep the heat with you of the morning after, try to keep that warmth with you in the cold January streets. "But your smile in the half-light was pure pillow print cheek." I really like this, how it's a very Guy Garvey lyric, I feel. I'm just going to read what the person said on genius because it's a hard thing to phrase. Here, Garvey means that her smile gave him the same emotions as seeing her cheek with the imprint of a pillow on it, which conveys intimacy and warmth. I agree with that. It's just a very nice image. An angel tangled in the very cloths of heaven. Oh, we'll be far away for a while, but my heart's staying put. So that's what I was saying about it being like, not necessarily a long distance relationship, but a relationship that often requires one person to leave, you know? Warming and guarding and guiding the one that I love. Then the final bit we have is the silence and the waiting and the rush of all aboard. 50 souls to a carriage, I'm trying hard to be ignored. Then my telephone shakes into life and I see your name. And the wheat fields explode into gold either side of the train. And the wheat fields explode into gold either side of the train. And the wheat fields explode into gold. So this last bit here seems to be about like coming home on the train and you get a text from that person that like, you know, I can't wait to see you, or, you know, I'm at the station and ready to pick you up or whatever, right? So like the silence and the waiting and the rush of all aboard, 50 souls to a carriage, I'm trying hard to be ignored, you know, just trying to get onto the train and be alone and not have anyone bothering him. Then my telephone shakes into life and I see your name. I just love the upswell with that as they both sing it. It just, you really know that, understand that emotion, because then he describes it as, and the wheat fields explode into gold either side of the train. Just, he's filled with such intense emotion and love that it feels like the wheat fields have become more rich in color, you know? I just love that so much. I love that he repeats the line and then just the wheat fields explode into gold. It's such a great image for that kind of feeling, you know, of just pure love. And that's pretty much it for this song, and indeed for this Valentine's week. I thought I'd end on a really sweet one. I just love the way it ends, the real swelling sound of the strings and of the singing. It's great. So that's going to be it for this week. Next week is unthemed, although I kind of have a vibe that I'm going for with it. Before I go on to next week, though, I do want to mention that I am starting another project because my ADHD is going brrr. I'm starting a vlogging channel, by which I mean by the time you hear this, the first vlog will have been out for a week, actually. But basically, I'm going to be doing monthly vlogs. I'm just recording all month, and then I make a video of like the stuff I got up to in the month. And the January one went up today as I'm recording this, and it's like almost an hour long, but there will be other months that are a lot shorter, and probably some months that are longer, honestly. But you know, I'm just experimenting with it. So if you want to check that out, go down to the description. There'll be a link to it there. It's called Pigeon's Year. And yeah, hopefully that'll be an interesting thing to do after this podcast ends. Thank you so much for listening. Please hit like, hit subscribe, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you think. Tell other people about this show. Thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you tomorrow.
Break it down.
Backbeat, the word is on the street that the fire in your heart is out. I'm sure. Anyway, warming, guarding, and guiding the one that I love. You're the one that I want. Ooh, 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 honey. Ugh. Oh, yes, indeed. When at your best, you are love. You're a positive, motivating force within my life. Anyway,